All right. Good evening, everybody. How's everybody doing? So we got a couple of things to work on tonight, just because I'm not sure the locomotive in the thumbnail is going to provide enough work for, a full hour of work, but we'll have some fun nonetheless. Hope everybody had a good day. I certainly did. Nice and smooth through the workday. I was excited to get home and start my live stream here, and we'll see. I think I should be able to make it to Heath's live stream here later tonight as well. But yeah. So we have the primary goal for tonight is to get a little bit of work done on this former Cartier M636 Canadian Alco product, basically. This thing was in Cartier paint when I started with it, as you could see in the thumbnail. I went ahead and did a little bit of work to this thing just to make sure that I got the big stuff done, just because a lot of the decal removal work can be a little bit tedious, and I don't know that it was really worth trying to do that on camera necessarily. But I'll show you a couple of reference photos I've got here of the unit that we're turning this into. It's going to be Western New York and Pennsylvania number 643. And as you can see, one of the fun things about 643 is it's got a little bit of ghost lettering. Let's see if I can make sure you can see it here on the live stream. But yeah, there's a little bit of ghost lettering. The Cartier logo is kind of showing through on one side of the long hood. So if you look at this side, I've tried to replicate it as best I can. I think I've got a little too much Cartier still showing through, but I'm happy with what it looks like, and my buddy Alex, who this is being done for, is also pretty happy with it. So I think we're gonna roll with it. There are a bunch of different spotting features that are going to need to change on this thing. And for right now, for tonight, we're just really doing decal work. But you'll notice if I put these side by side that the plow, for one thing, is majorly different. The ditch lights themselves are non-existent on the model. So that'll be something that I'll eventually have to do. And then the big and probably most disappointing thing is that the headlight on the back is actually completely different than the one that's on the locomotive, unfortunately. And I'm not sure I'm going to be able to do much about that myself, but if I can figure something out, maybe I will. But it's not going to be a super high priority for me. The rear of the locomotive is never really something that I'm too focused on, but yeah. Okay, Caboose 1973. Okay, you got pictures of the M3. Yeah, they were former New York and Susquehanna units before they came to the WNYP. That's really cool. Awesome. I only actually ever got to see the Big Sixes in person twice. Unfortunately, my ability to get down to Olean was fairly limited until they were almost gone, sadly. So never really got the chance to see them much in person. I did shoot them a couple of times. I got 630, the former Arkansas Midland one, leading once. And then I also got, I don't know what the other one was that I got leading. But had some good shots. Really happy with what I did get to see out of them. I've enjoyed going down to Scranton a couple of times to shoot those as well too. So as far as Big Sixes are concerned, I'm pretty happy with them. So yeah, as you can see, we've kind of already started in on a lot of what we need to do for this. We've got the patches on. The only thing is, and it might be hard to see this on camera, but the patches are a bit too deep of a red for the locomotives. So I think I'm going to, the first order of business tonight is going to be masking off all of the cab glass and the lenses, and we're going to put a layer of dull coat over the whole locomotive here, and then I'm going to do just a little bit of fading on it, and then we're going to go ahead and put the numbers on themselves. So Pearson, yes, that is a patch decal. It is from Circus City Decals. They do some really nice patch decals that are super convenient for these types of projects. They come in a bunch of different colors. Really nice stuff that really help you kind of fast forward through some of the painstaking processes of like the alternative would be doing masking out a patch and then painting it on. So really convenient. Hey, Rick decided he actually can use the chat feature tonight here. Glad to see that. I'm not gonna get a text tonight from him, but yes, yeah, a little bit of grime. We'll definitely, we got to fade out the patchwork itself, but I do also plan on doing just a little bit of grime as well for sure. So, but yeah, first order of business here is going to be specifically just covering up the cab glass here, just because I'm not going to bother to take it out of the locomotive to do all of the work that we're doing today. Just because these Bowsers, the cab glass does not come out of them very easily, unfortunately. So there'll be a little bit of tedious work here, but hopefully you'll hang out with me, and maybe now's a good time to ask what everybody else has got going on the layout. What's everybody else working on? Tim, you've got a picture of 643 in Olean Yard. Awesome. Very cool. I can't remember if I shot 643 or not myself. I know I shot a good portion of them. Rick's looking for a wood gear, but I think he means worm gear. If anybody happens to have a Atlas, or not an Atlas, a Walther's transfer table that they don't want anymore, Genesee Society of Model Engineers would probably gladly take it off your hands at this point. Ay, ay, ay. What a pain those transfer tables are. I try my best to make sure that not just myself, but you guys can see everything that's happening in this project at the same time. I've got the laptop here beside me showing me exactly what you guys will see. Unfortunately, it's a few seconds delayed here, so if I'm ever cut off a little bit, I should be able to correct it pretty quickly, but might be cut off for just a second. I can't seem to shake all these Alcos off the layout, but the good news is after these ones are done, I've got two big GEs that I'll be working on putting in the GSME club scheme here soon. So those should be a fun project to work on and get me away from these silly big old Alcos and back into some vintage GE, which is my sweet spot for sure. But for now, we'll keep trucking with these. Got too many friends that model Alco roads to not work on them. All right, Tim, you've got a GP18 and caboose waiting for you to film ops. Oh man, that's awesome. 75th anniversary SC40-2. Nice, very cool. I saw that you finished up a big portion of your bench work. I think you said you had the supplies to do all of it, but not necessarily that you had it all done. But I think you were close, if I recall. So that's cool. Can't wait to see what you got cooking. All right, I made that piece of tape just a little bit too short, and I really want to make sure that I am not getting any sort of paint on the windows. So we're gonna have to be really meticulous with these. All right. Yeah, a little too long a piece here. It's part of the process. Does take a little bit of concentration, so apologies if my conversation skills take a hit tonight, but hopefully everybody else in the chat can pick me up here and make sure that we're doing what the title says, talking trains. The whole idea of these live streams wasn't necessarily for me to get on here and, talk to the abyss, but for there to be a, nice lively live chat for anybody that wants to just throw this on while they're working at their own workbench and just kind of enjoy the company of model railroaders in a virtual setting, I guess. Oop. Yeah. Just need a smaller piece here to cover up the last little bit of the bottom here. All right. Pearson's planning on going to the Scale Trains event next Friday. Which one is next Friday? I can't remember when they get towards. So they're coming to my area, Western New York. And I can't remember if is that where you are too, Pearson, or where are you located there? Oh, you've got the Lake Shores. Okay, yeah, you're you're a Western New York guy. Cool. Athern ready to roll SD40-2s. What are you looking for, Casey? I mean, anything in particular? I don't have any Athern ready to roll stuff, but I've got a few detail parts that are Kato that are for an SD40-2 that might work. I don't know if it'll just kind of depend on what you're looking for as to whether it'll work. So. Hey, Ed. Yeah, May 3rd. Okay, cool. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it up to the Rochester Club for that one or not. We'll see. I know I've got a cousin that's getting married in Scotland in a couple of months, and for those of us who aren't able to, make the trip over, they're doing kind of a celebration on May 4th. So, with that in mind, I don't know if I'm doing anything May 3rd. Little old introverted me. Usually, usually what's the word? I moderate my social consumption, if that makes any sort of sense. All right, one window left on this sucker, and we'll be able to get a layer of dull coat on it. Okay, Ed, yeah, May 3rd. Did I say this Friday? I meant, yeah, I meant May the 3rd. Okay, so Casey, window shades and window parts. So cab glass, I'm not sure there's much I can help with. Window shades, those should be a relatively generic part. You should be able to get like a cal scale window shade for those, but I'm not sure what the part number would be off the top of my head. You definitely have to paint them though. I don't know if you're looking for the Athern ready to roll because you're hoping it's gonna be painted already, but unfortunately, sometimes that doesn't work out, sadly. But okay, so I should have all of the masking on here. I'm gonna add just a little bit more to the rear glass here. Real quick on the conductor side because I don't quite have it fully covered. Almost. Okay, so that should be good. Really all I'm going to do is throw this, perch it on a set of helping hands, and then I'll walk over to the paint booth with it. I'll show you what I'm going to use. Here we go. So this is what I use to pretty much clear coat everything that I work on. This is Krylon matte finish. It's a nice thin finish. It's very hard to go too heavy with it, if that makes sense. But of course I've got the Super Tree factory assembly line going full force. I just realized that those were all in the paint booth, so I got to get those moved out of the way here. Lots of progress going on the Seneca Lake scene. So, pumping out trees left and right. Alright, let me get this clear coated here really quickly, and then let it dry for a minute and work on something else for a few minutes. Alright, so that's all drying. And the other big thing that I need to keep plugging away at is this Western New York and Pennsylvania number 426. So, yeah, this thing is quite the problem child. This was a locomotive that a friend of mine, same one that owns the other Elko we're working on tonight, he bought secondhand, and the previous owner had done some very questionable weathering on it. I've soaked it in isopropyl and kind of tried my best to get most of the weathering off, but just has not gotten it to a level that I'm satisfied with. So I think I'm going to mask off the whole bottom part of the locomotive, and I'm going to completely repaint the top part. And, unfortunately, I wanted to be able to just kind of touch up this paint, but I cannot find a gray for the life of me that's a dead-on match. And I've talked to a few people who have custom painted Chicago Belt Railway locomotives before, and they've used, with luck, this light gray from Vallejo. So I'm going to just bite the bullet and fully repaint the top half of this thing. The big issue, though, and I'm so annoyed by this, is that the cab has been completely super glued onto the locomotive shell, so I can't take it out. I can't remove all the cab glass in order to do all this. So I literally have to mask this entire thing, which is an absolute nightmare. So I'm going to make you guys sit through it while I do. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, this won't be our primary focus tonight. We'll kind of shuffle back and forth between this and doing the decal work on the Big Six. This will just be kind of what I'm filling time with while the paint dries on the Big Six. Which the nice thing about that Krylon matte finish is that the paint does actually dry very, very quickly. I do need to actually put some gloves on though. Just in case I hit a wet spot with it. Don't want my fingerprints in it or anything. Okay, so what do we got going on here? So, very cool. Yeah, so scale trains will be set up in the sanctuary, and then I'm guessing that the layout will be running that night as well, Ed. Should be pretty cool, nonetheless. Yeah, sadly, I took ASL in college, but boy, most of that stuff is left me by now, so I'm definitely not fluent in sign language anymore. Hopefully we can find somebody, though. That'd be really cool to have somebody there to interpret. Pearson, I don't know why he glued it to the shell. I mean, there was, you know, I stopped trying to understand the decisions that were made with this locomotive when I saw the weathering job that it came to me with. Yeah, it's just in rough shape, unfortunately. I completely unimpressed by the job that got done to this thing. And yeah, my buddy was literally, he was ready to throw this thing out. And I was like, hang on, you better let me look at it at least before you do anything. And, as soon as I got it, I was like, yeah, you know what? I think I should be able to save it. But, it's just a question of first time. And then I've thought a lot about this project. I haven't moved quickly at all, just because I've this is a unique project for me. I've never tried to rescue a a weathering job by somebody else before, so it's certainly a challenge for sure. And here's the biggest challenge is because I can't get this cab glass out. I've got to do as precise a job as possible with this masking so that the paint can actually get where it's supposed to get, but not on this cab glass. So let's see if we can get some of this excess tape out of here. Hopefully, oh, see, I'm working by myself here apparently, not keeping it on the camera. I need a shocker. I'll give the button to Ed, and every time my hands go off screen with the locomotive in the hand, he can just buzz me, and I'll know to get back on the camera. Oh man, Tim, you got to renew by June. Cool. I am good until I think January. Maybe it was December that I can't remember when the heck I joined. But I got months left, I'm sure. Was having some fun conversations with a couple of friends today about the possibility of going to not just the national that's going to be in Michigan next year, but also Chattanooga. So I'm really getting, excited about checking out some national conventions. I wish this year's was, attainable for me, for more reasons than one. I'm also a very big baseball fan, and I'd love to be getting out to California right now to check off the Oakland Coliseum before the Oakland A's were leaving next year, but I just don't think that that's going to be a feasible travel arrangement for me this year. I would love to, just lump a NMRA National in with a trip to the Oakland Coliseum, but too much else going on. All right, the Big Six is almost dry here behind us. Hey, it's Heath. Heath's here. Heath, I don't know if my I think I gotta figure out a different name for people watching my channels. Human or model citizens is your thing. That's your gig. I think I gotta come up with my own. And Heath, yes, I not only am I going to the convention, I'm in the Rochester area, I'm in the Lake Shores region, and my layout will be one of the operating layouts for the convention. And Ed would be the one to ask, but I believe I've still got spots if anybody is interested in operating my layout during the convention. So, Heath, don't you have your own live stream to go prep for? I already said earlier that I plan on wrapping probably by 8:30. Plenty of time to go pop some popcorn and get ready for Heath's stream. So, all right. So as soon as I got the masking on this thing, I think we'll circle back around to the other locomotive that we've got here on the bench. We're almost got everything on there. You guys are making me. I've got so much FOMO about not registering for the Ops Till You Drop in Syracuse this year. I don't know why I didn't. I got the email. I was like, oh yeah, I'm interested in doing that, and just never remembered to register. I wish I was going. Seems like it's for some reason it's a bit of a who's who type of situation. I mean, everybody that I follow, content creator wise, it seems to be going, which is really cool. Do I want to come because Rob backed out? Oh boy. I'll let you know, Ed. I can't make that decision without talking to my wife. So, but yeah, if there's an open slot, I might be interested. I'll have to talk to you offline about the logistics of that. With Syracuse being so close, I don't know that I would bother to stay overnight. But if there's an open slot for any of the op sessions, I might be interested. Okay, so now I just need to do the front of these. Well, Heath, unfortunately, my phone has been blowing up behind me, and I'm not sure if it's a group chat that I'm in with all of my friends, and there might already be plans spoken for this weekend. I am not sure, and I don't want to commit to anything if I've already been committed to stuff this weekend by my wife. That's not the person's wrath that I'm most prepared to experience. We'll put it that way. Yeah, these are going to be the toughest masking to do, is to get these number boards done. Oh boy. Yep, RSS. That's the motto, right? That's the only way work gets done on the railroad is is if the lady upstairs is happy. Priority one. All right. After I get this number board done, we'll set this one to the side and circle back to it. Like I said, the big thing on the Big Six is going to be just doing a quick layer of fading, and then it'll be straight back into the clear coat once the fading is done. So we'll be circling back around to the 426 here as soon as that part of the process is done. Oh, I think I did a good. Yeah, nice. I cut this little piece of masking tape pretty much right to the right size. Awesome. Very cool. Yes, Rick. That's another way of putting it. All right, so we got almost everything taped up here, just the front windows left. But we'll circle back to that. I want to get a little bit more headway done on the main project here tonight. So let's check out the. Oh, what is going on here? We had fun stuff happen up on the roof. I'll have to touch that up. Wow, something. I don't know. There's some sort of decaling or something from the factory on that, and it bubbled up. And then the roof walk here is all sorts of goofy. Looks like the paint kind of sat in there instead of, falling through for some reason. That's all stuff that can be touched up pretty easily. I wonder if I might be able to get away with taking a coarse brush here and kind of just getting rid of it that way. Ooh, that's not. Kind of worked, kind of didn't. We'll roll with it. This is the biggest catastrophe I've ever dealt with on a on a locomotive. Okay, so big thing we're gonna do. This is just gonna be simple as can be. I've got some pan pastels. They're a white pigment. And for this first coat, I'm solely gonna focus on the patch out decal itself, because like I said, that's what's a little too strong of a red. That was too much, but and this could take, a couple of coats, but we'll focus on the patch outs first, and then we'll worry about the overall weathering of the locomotive later, once these are all taken care of. All right, quick clear coat, right back. Let that dry off to the side. Usually the thing that's nice is second and third coats of that clear coat actually go on a lot quicker. So I don't have as much to worry about. We gotta get that pastel out of the way here though. Don't need that making a mess when I'm trying to multitask on multiple locomotives. Alright, so yeah, just need to get the masking on those two front windows. Here's my X-Acto. Just kind of trying to get a general idea of what those windows look like. I just kind of wing it, just eyeballing it best I can, and then I'll trim to size once it's on the locomotive. As I'm looking at the big 6 behind it here, though. I can definitely tell I'm going to need to do probably at least 2 to 3 coats to bring that down to the faded color that I really want it to be when everything's said and done. Do I have a vinyl cutter? Not really. How do I decide whether I'll work on rolling stock or the layout, Heath? Well, to be honest with you, part of the reason that I wanted to start doing this live stream was to have an excuse to get back to the workbench. Before I had a layout, this is where I spent all my time. I did a ton of custom work for myself and my friends. I very, very seriously considered, doing this as a, semi-professional side gig, if you will. But the full-time job is doing well, so I don't necessarily need to worry about that at this point. And I can kind of just worry about working on my own stuff, working on friends' stuff, and work on the layout itself. But I was focused so heavily on the layout that a lot of this type of thing I missed it. So having these live streams is a good way to dedicate at least an hour every week to being on the workbench, which is nice. I like it. Oh, yeah, RSS. That's for what I'm doing here. I'm not sure that I'm not sure it's worth the money in that situation. But and Heath, no, I have never dabbled in N scale yet. That's a frontier I'm not sure I'm mentally prepared for. I'll put it that way. All right, so let's keep on trucking with the fading here. Sadly, sometimes that first coat really doesn't like to stick very well. There's an adhesive built into this stuff, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's gonna stay in place very well when you're spray painting it. Plus, the moisture of the spray paint kind of dissolves it a little bit and soaks it into the decal, so it's hard to keep it together. Yeah, RSS, I'm sure it does save a lot of time, but will it save me a lot of money? That's the big question, right? So, yeah, I don't think it's necessarily all that worth it for the amount of time that I spend doing this stuff. Like I said, and you might not have been here for it, but most of the time when I'm doing this sort of work, I will just straight up pull the cab off and remove all the cab glass so I don't have any masking to do. But this goofy thing, whoever did the initial weathering on this thing, also glued the cab on. It is very, very securely glued on there. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but you can even see the amount of glue down in there that's holding this thing on. It's rough. So. Well, that's quite the kind offer there, RSS. Yeah, I'll be sure to keep you in mind for sure. Okay, yeah. As you can see, the dry time really does kind of speed up a little bit. We're already ready for another coat of fade on this thing. Probably do, I don't know, at least 2 more coats here. It's looking like I'm gonna want, and then we'll be good to start finally doing the decal work that the whole stream's supposed to be for. It's the one disadvantage to working with a Circus City decal, you know, the fixed color rather than doing you know, your own masked off patches. Is that you know, we're at the mercy of the colors that are available on that Circus City sheet, and if I want something just ever so slightly different than what's on the Circus City sheet, I've got to do stuff like this in order to get it done. So, oh Tim, yeah, at least they didn't glue the decoder up into the roof of it. Holy cow, that is rough. How is that? Did you do anything else to it yet? Or is it gonna, you know, run okay despite the decoder being funky? Yep, we're already ready to go again here. Seems like the more you lay on there spray paint wise, the quicker it's dry and ready to go again, which is nice. So I think what I'll do now is give this another coat of clear, and then while it's drying this next time, I'll start to cut out the decals that I'm going to need and get them soaking in some water. That way they're ready to go. Oh, so is it just the light board, Tim, that's the issue there, or is it an actual decoder? There are at least a few loose wires. Okay, all right, gotcha. I see what you're saying. Yeah, those. I mean, like I was saying in the last live stream, you know, some of those things are just not. They're very. Kato is a very N-scale friendly company, we'll put it that way, but they are not an HO friendly company, unfortunately. So. Okay, so for those of you that might not have seen the reference photo originally, this is the locomotive that we're doing. It's WNYP-643. So I am going to dive right into getting the decals cut up for it, which I've got right here. And it looks like this particular locomotive's got the kind of spread out WNYP decals, so we'll be using those ones. Now these are, what is the company? CMR decals. And if you've never used CMR decals, the one thing I will tell you is you need to follow their tutorial for CMR decals to the letter when you are working with their decals. Otherwise, things will not go well for you. Oh, sorry about my big old head being in the way there. Yeah, the big issue with these is for some reason they just do not, they print thicker, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but they do not cooperate the way that, you know, something like my micro scale sheet, you know, they don't cooperate the same way at all, unfortunately. So it can be quite the challenge to get them to lay properly. Okay, so we need, I'm going to go one side at a time here, so I need a 6. Pop that one out of there. I've got my water off to the side here. You can see it there, but I'll just put it back where it is. Dangerously close to my laptop, you know, living on the edge. They also give you very, very limited amounts of decals on these number sheets, so you gotta be, you know, right on the money the first time. Otherwise, you need a backup sheet. And I actually do have a backup sheet of these, thankfully. Alex, my buddy that this locomotive is for, he knows me well enough to know to just buy an extra sheet. So we've got that off to the side. Okay, so let's see how we're looking here. Yeah, we've got this pretty well faded down now. I think is that a hair? I don't know. I'll have to touch that up. I don't know if that's an eyelash or if it's, I don't know. Looks like we've got it pretty well sorted here, though. We've got our decals for this side soaking, and the first thing that you do with these decals before you put them on is make sure you have a little bit of micro set on the surface that you're going to be working with. So make sure that's on. First thing I'm going to do is put the WNYP decal up at the top of the patch here. So make sure we get that all situated. Oh, come on. Already having problems with the CMR decals, of course. They just like to stick to themselves way too easily. Come on. Get down there. Okay. All right, so here's our WNYP decal. Okay, so next step with these is going to be to take a dry brush and just straight up remove any excess liquid. You just kind of hold on to the decal a little bit and push the brush across to get rid of any excess liquid. Okay, moving on to the numbers themselves. Sometimes pulling numbers out of a bowl is kind of like the lottery. You don't know which number you're getting first. Today it happened to be the 4. And I'll worry about kind of placing those correctly here shortly. And actually, you know what? I just realized I never put my micro set down. Hope I don't have a problem. Okay, now we got the 3. So I think once I've got this side done, we'll probably wrap up the stream. I want to make sure I've got enough time to get myself wrapped up and get ready for Heath's stream. All right, so now it's just a matter of gently adjusting these into place, and then we'll do the same thing we did. Split a decoder. Yeah, right. Yeah, it really is not a logical system as far as an HO scale locomotive is concerned, Pearson. It's yeah. I'm there with you. All right. So one of the fun things with this locomotive, if I can find the other shot of it, is actually when they patched this thing, they did not do a good job of making sure that the numbers were straight. So they kind of tilt down a little bit, and I'm gonna try to match the prototype as best I can here, without it being too terrible. We are a little bit. I don't know if these these CMR decals might not even be exactly square. There's a chance, or scale, because if you look at, I mean, there's plenty of room underneath the WNYP logo there, but not so much here for some reason, unfortunately. But those look pretty good. So again, now I'm going to take my dry brush and very, very gently, because these are individual numbers now, try to get all the excess moisture out of there. I might need to reposition them a little bit. Yep, I'm going to need to. Rats. Hopefully we can still do that okay. Where are we looking? Looking beyond the camera's frame here, just at the reference photo to make sure that I'm, somewhat close to matching the prototype here. Like I said, the numbers were not even on that thing. Okay, that should be good, I think. Yeah, I know, Heath, but I gotta I do have to stop, sometime soon, just because I want to make sure I get the chance to chat with my wife for a little bit before we go right into your stream. Okay, is that my dry one? I gotta double check here. Yep. All right. So now we're going right into the microsol. And we're going to do the same thing that we just did with the microset with this. So we're going to do just a nice light. We're going to mostly dry off the brush and then just very lightly go over the top of all of these decals. I think I might be able to get away with a little bit more. Okay. It moved on me a little bit. This is when you don't want them to move, is when you're putting on the microsol, because that's what softens up the decals and fixes them in place permanently. You got a couple of minutes of playtime if you need it, usually, thankfully. But here is, once I got that back in place, this is the most critical step with these CMR decals. Is once you put the microsol on, that's when you really want to make sure that you go in, and of course it's moving all over the place. And this is why I don't like using their decals, but that's all of the choice we have for Western New York and Pennsylvania locomotives. But you really got to make sure that you get the excess microsol off of these, otherwise the decals just love to curl up so easily. Yep, and I'm losing my ability to work these. Okay. Let's see if I can just get it where I want it, and then I'll not touch it. Okay. I'm going to leave it like that because, yeah. All right. Wow, we got up to 21 people here. Holy cow. That's a new record for me. That's pretty cool. Pearson, thanks, yeah, for coming. Really appreciate it. Yeah, like he said, hit the thumbs up. Really appreciate that. Yeah, this is the end of the hour. So I really appreciate y'all tuning in. I'll be sure to keep this project updated on my Facebook page. If it makes it until next week on the workbench without being touched, maybe we'll circle back to it. We'll see. I might be by the time we're working on, next week's live stream. If I'm streaming next week, I'm not sure if I will, but I might have this all painted, and who knows, we might be finally doing some decal work or some detailing work on this thing. Not sure yet. We'll see what happens when we get to that point. But yeah, I really appreciate everybody checking out the stream. If I'm streaming again next week, it'll be right at 7:30 again. And tune in again. We'll see ya. Take care, everybody.